I would say the book.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our second meeting in April. I would ask everybody if you have a cell phone or something to mute it or shut it off during the meeting so we don't have any interruptions. So, consent agenda, do we have any additions to the agenda? Kenny?
No.
Amy?
No.
Christina?
No.
No. Paul?
No.
No, just leave that up first. No addition. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the monthly bills, and the regular minutes of the meeting minutes.
So move.
Second,
Second.
got a motion and a second, all those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Employee time.
Oh, yes. Brittany, could you come up, please? So, last week, Brittany did a really good job, on a call that I wanted to recognize her for. We can't talk about the details, of course, due to privacy laws, but, I wanted to give her this life-saving award, presented to Brittany Mervitt Duck Savage in recognition of your courageous life-saving actions on a cardiac arrest call on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 in Walsh County, North Dakota. Your outstanding efforts using your EMD training to talk bystanders through CPR gave someone another chance at life. Walsh County Communications /911 presented this day, Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Thank you.
I got a feeling you don't wanna say anything. Would you like? You're sure? Congratulations. Well, you're good, yeah, congratulations and you're sure welcome. Here you go. Great,
Great job, Brittany.
yeah, thank you. Kelly?
Good morning. Morning. The first thing I have is the opioid litigation again. There's another settlement. So what I'm asking for is that you approve this settlement as recommended by the attorneys. It's with some of the remnant defendants. I had thought last time that we were maybe at the end of the settlement thing. So I'm asking, one, that you approve that, two, that you let me just sign off on these settlements in the future, should there be any additional that come. I would just follow the recommendations based on the attorneys. That money goes to either the state or the health district anyway with regards to that now, so. I would make that motion. No,
second. Then we approve this and then she can sign it moving
Yes.
forward, okay.
Yeah. And I'll second.
We've got a motion, any questions? Got a motion that Kelly can sign off and then sign further agreements or settlements, all those in favor, Paul,
Yes.
Christie.
Yeah.
Amy,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carries.
All right, and then the second one, as you know, Judge Whelan did resign as of April 30th. What happens when there is a vacancy in the district then is it gets, sent to, the governor sends it to the Supreme Court, and there's a notice of consultation and comments to determine whether, the judgeship is necessary for effective judicial administration in the Northeast Judicial District, or whether the judgeship may be transferred. So, in the past, my office has typically drafted letters on behalf of the commissioners and ask you to, sign off on that letter in support of keeping those chambers here in Grafton. Or we've also done, support for when Judge Fontaine retired and there was a vacancy up there, we've done a letter supporting that as well. Judge Benson, who's the presiding judge in the district, did ask me specifically to reach out to both the commissioners, to submit comments as well as some of the legislators. I think there's a concern, based upon the numbers that position might be transferred. So, it's a little bit more concerning than it has been necessarily in the past, so. So I'm asking, I guess, and if there's anybody who has any specific comments that they would like me to submit, to the Supreme Court on keeping that judgeship here in Grafton, to reach out to me and let me know. I can put in the letter, and then, they're due May 8th, so I will draft a letter and probably come back on the 5th.
Oh,
Who is the letter addressed to, the governor
No, it would be the Supreme Court, essentially. So the Supreme Court, is undertaking a written consultation with the attorneys and judges of the Northeast Judicial District. And any person wishing to comment on the vacancy may also do so in writing no later than May 8th.
So in the future, it's basically the Supreme Court that decides if we have a judge here or not. Is that what I'm,
Essentially, yes.
okay, so that could change anytime the Supreme Court wants it to change.
Well, anytime there's a vacancy, the statute requires that they consult with the Supreme Court to determine whether the Supreme Court believes it's necessary for the effective judicial administration in that district.
When you said there's more concern now than there has been in the past, is that because of the number of cases?
The numbers are lower right now. Pembina County's cases are extremely low. Cavalier County cases have always been low
So if
than they have been in the past.
if, for example, we were to lose our judge and was gonna go to Grand Forks, and Cavalier, Pembina and Walsh would all have to go to Grand Forks.
So if we lost our judge, what would happen? We're not in the same district as Grand Forks.
Okay.
They're in a different district. So we're in the Northeast District, which goes all the way out to Rugby
Okay.
and Devil's Lake and that area and up. Yeah, so it's a big area, so what would happen is probably judges would have to, travel more. So you'd have a situation like Judge Agonis has been doing for several months now, and she's been, taking both Cavalier, Pembina and Walsh County caseload essentially. And she's been working, stream hours and traveling a ton and those sorts of things.
So all of those counties have the same judge, but the judge comes to them.
Usually, yeah, I mean, you can do some Zoom appearances
Sure,
and those sorts
sure.
of things, but yes. So all the Northeast judicial judges, they can take cases anywhere within the district or be assigned cases anywhere in the district.
so do you wanna write up something and then we sign it by the commission?
Yes, if,
Yeah.
please.
I would like to see support for it, keeping it here.
How many judges serve this district now?
So there's 6 right now.
6.
So just for clarification, so there's 6 now, there'd be 6 if they appoint this judge. If they didn't appoint this judge, would there still be 5 judges in our
Yes.
district that would serve those same counties?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right, thank you.
And right now, we actually have a Grand Forks retired judge who's been coming up to cover the civil cases right now, so.
You need a motion for that?
I wanna put it in motion,
Just
go ahead.
You do?
Well, I think it'd be nice to have it in the record. I mean in our minutes and stuff, if you wanna make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have Kelly draft a letter in support of filling the position here.
Have a second? Any other questions? Okay, we got a motion and a second that Kelly write a letter and then we will sign off on it, that we show support to keeping our judgeship here in this district. All those in favor, Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
I'll get a hold of you later today, Kelly, on that.
Okay. sounds
Jason,
good.
are you busy about dinner or a little after, so we can meet with her on that agreement?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Elvadas and Construction Engineers, jail update.
Good morning.
Morning.
those of you that don't remember me, I'm Ben Matson with Construction Engineers. My counterparts, Mike Dunn, Caleb Smith are on the call, and then Greg from Elevatus is on the call as well. So, since we last met with you, we are in receipt of the construction documents from Elevatus for bid package 1, which is where we're gonna come to you in a few weeks with a guaranteed maximum price for those construction documents. So we've received those documents. Now, if you looked at the newspaper in Grand Forks or here in Walsh County, you've seen that we're advertising to receive bids for that. So bids will be due to us on Thursday, May 7th. Following that, we'll be reviewing all those bids for completeness and making sure that they have everything we need to complete this bid package. And then the plan is to come back to you to your second meeting in May, which I believe is the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Just a quick comment, I guess, too. I know following the last meeting, there were some questions about the finances and kind of our spend rate and some of that. So we need to cover a couple things with the sheriff on that. So if there wasn't any concerns with that, you know, what we do is a monthly invoice for construction. So we have the concrete crew or the earthwork crew out here in the month of July, and they do $500,000 worth of work. We'll invoice the county for $500,000 worth of work. So it isn't like, although we shared that we would be giving you a GMP for roughly 30% of this project at that May meeting, it isn't as if that money is all due at one time. It's a monthly invoice for you. So I just wanted to share that follow-up. So that, I guess I don't know if anyone on the phone has anything I haven't covered.
Yeah, I'll just from a standpoint of where we are now, as we're waiting for the bids to come in on bid pack 1, bid pack 2 will be the architectural, all the interior build out, the MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and detention equipment, and various other things to finalize all the documents. So those currently we're working on through the design development phase, which will be completed at the end of this month, and we'll get those drawings to construction engineers for their DD pricing, which will be presented. Was it May 17th? I think something like that. And then we'll be then working towards continuing on working towards the final bid pack that'll come out. Bid pack 2 will be out like June 11th or so. So that's what we're doing at this point, beyond the bid pack 1 that is currently out. So just an update there.
Anything else to add or? Paul?
Just curious if your bid packet is going to include anything for like furniture, fixture, and equipment. I don't remember if that was.
That is not part of the construction documents that we're doing right now, so it'd be procured separately.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any?
Insurance on this project, you guys carry the insurance until it's completed, or do we have to pick that up? Or?
Yeah, so the way we wrote up our contract was where construction engineers will carry the builder's risk insurance. So in the event of anything that would happen related to the construction project, we've got coverage on that. There's some specific language when it gets into tying into the existing building and some of those things. So there's language insurance related over, most of our heads related to indemnify on this building versus that building and those types of things, but we have coverage in place, or will, once we.
So if some natural disaster comes through, you guys have got.
Well, natural disasters are a different. And so, I'd have to go back and look at specifics of those, but, it's more for the, a fire or some sort of damage.
Construction related,
the work we're doing, excavator runs, or who knows, so.
Electrical sparks or whatever.
Things happen, unfortunately. Yep.
Any other questions? Ron, you got anything to add or tell me or?
No.
I guess, thank you.
I was just gonna mention too, I noticed on the agenda you have, the Grand Forks County folks coming in later too, so. For anyone who may not know that, Construction Engineers was the construction manager on the recently completed housing pod and admin area that they just did. We were also the builder back in 2006, when the original jail was built there, off the fairgrounds, so. My plan is to stick around, just in case you might have any questions related to what we built there, so I will, be here for a little while. Thank
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason?
Already don't have better smells with me yet, but we're gonna start on a couple of the things, so. This one. Good morning. We'll skip the first item on my agenda just because Doug's not right here yet. He's driving from Fargo this morning. We'll go in a little bit early. But the second item I have for topic is construction engineering contract. This is for the FEMA bridge. That'll be covered as part of FEMA costs, just to get KLJ on board, so they're running the project while we're moving through. It's about $89,000. This is the one that's, would be that washed out in the last flood in 23, a mile north of 17 and half a mile to the west. So, just to the west of Karen Anderson's about half a mile.
Oh, yeah,
3/4 of a mile. So that bridge will end up being a combination Texas crossing. So there'll be a box culvert, there'll be a little bit elevated. So that on high flows, the water will go over top of it, so hopefully we won't have any ice jam issues or anything else there either. Could we just get that stuff to move through? For motion and for approval of that.
Yeah, do I have a motion to approve the construction engineering for that bridge?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any other questions? Got a motion and a second to approve the construction and engineering contract for the FEMA bridge by Karen Anderson. All those in favor? Paul?
Yes.
Christie? Yes. Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. The next thing that was brought up, actually Ernie asked me to put it on, was for a bridge naming request. To formally name the Hankey Bridge after Phyllis Hankey. Ernie, do you have more on that one?
I guess I got a phone call and being she was Miss North Dakota in 1983. They also owned land on both sides. She was into many projects. She was a big player in financing of the hospital in Park River and stuff, so I just brought it up to Jason. I had a request and you know, she also worked with the Miss North Dakota pageantry for years after that and everything else, so I guess it was just my request and I would like to see us, I guess, name the bridge on the Phil Sankey Miss North Dakota in 1983.
I'll make that a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other questions? Got a motion and a second that we approve naming the bridge by the Hankeys there. The Phyllis Hankey, Miss North Dakota, 1983 bridge. All those in favor? Danny?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
The next thing I have is Kelsey Beckstrom from Drift Trade Development notified me that she had gotten some grants on behalf of the city of Fortville for some signs to be placed on county roads. These are county work. I was thinking maybe we could do them for the city of Fortville, but I didn't want to make sure that you guys were fine with that. Maybe just get like an at cost type of thing, so they don't really need it for this type of a grant, but just for us to do it, to make sure that everything is put in there within the codes and things that we have to have for restrictions. Just working with them, so just looking for permissions on that, so. It's not gonna take us very long to do it, probably one day for Dean to put in a couple of signs out there, so.
So you're just basically helping guide in the sense, I make a
Yes.
motion to approve.
Do I have any other questions? Got a motion that we approve and help Ford with the waypoint sign grant. So we can help install and do whatever, so everything's done right. All those in favor? Christie,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carries.
Last thing I have is for you right now is we are into our next season of construction. We have guys working out on 12A south of Pizzic, taking some of the hazard rocks out. And we have people flying through the construction zone. So, I've told the guys last year and I've told them again this year, and this year there's thinking more along the lines of it, because there are people driving through at 45 mph while they're standing on the gravel, getting rocks and everything else thrown at them. If it continues, we're just gonna close the road. We're not gonna put up detours and those different things, we're just gonna close the road so that the guys can work in safety without having to worry about someone running over. So I just wanted to basically put a notification out there on that is. You get a whole new appreciation of what it's like to be standing next to the side of the road when we have cars coming flying by, and we're getting rocks pelted at you on top of it. This doesn't make for a fun working environment, we're very safe, so just wanted to let all of you know that we're in a construction zone and if it gets closed. The guys have my permission to do it, they don't have to call me, they can just close it. So, just kind of want to put that out there, we've talked about it for the last couple of years, and things aren't really getting any better. So, that's just what we're looking at doing.
It's not often they get a second chance.
No.
So, Amy,
I don't know, Ron, you can, if this is outside of the, but it makes me think like. In Arizona, my grandma once, she got a speeding ticket in the mail for, like going under, one of those automated, and. I get this isn't their job, but it's like, I wanna give them a handheld, something that they could, and what, and someone gets a fine in the mail or something, because. There should be some accountability for that, I mean, if, you come up on someone and you see people, you just, the thought of not going. Wow, 30 feels fast when someone's standing stationary and you're going by them, let alone gravel, that's just terrifying to me for our employees.
Yeah, we have it restricted down to 25 mph. So I mean, we'll call Ron, the sheriff's department's been very helpful with us in the past, but where we'll call and they'll send somebody out to the area. But even when we do that, it doesn't really seem to, it works well, the sheriff's department is sitting there.
Yeah,
But then after that, it doesn't, so we're not going to keep bothering them, because
right,
by the time they get there, we'll be right through some of our sites for a while again. And it's not anything that's bad against the sheriff's department or anything like that, it's just locations of where we are, where they are, so. They work with us very well, but we're just gonna start closing, so.
how many times did you close a bridge or something or a road because of flooding and they still go by them?
Yeah.
Then we gotta go out there and just about anchor the whole road to keep them. So I don't know if people don't get it safely. So Christine,
And the problem is closing it after something happens is too late,
yeah,
Right.
so. I don't know, it concerns me a little bit to wait for somebody to speed by and then say, oh, now we're gonna close it, and it's not that I wanna close every one of these work sites, but what are we talking here, like, how long?
Staying on the site a couple of miles, so, I mean, it's.
So you typically could get around on a township road.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much all the way you get around the township road will work, there's really not too many places where you can't go a mile to get around.
And then
Depending on the year, some of those roads might be dirt, might be driving through a mud road, but. There's not much we can do about that.
And how long would they be working in that area roughly, like, what are we doing right now, did you say?
Well, in that point in time, we were taking hazard rocks out, so that was a 3-day process. Then after that, they've been out doing, they were on number 9. And they didn't have any issues out there on number 9 when they were doing the mastic to fill in the potholes. Went through a lot of mastic already out there to make that better, and then we did some more stuff on number 9, in the last couple of days for that, so we're out doing the mastic and the chip seals or the crack seals right now. So those sites were constantly moving and doing different things where we're not sitting there as long. You know, not from Edinburgh to Adams on number 9, they're out there for 3 days, so.
You know, it's sort of the last, how many years it's been a reoccurring theme, speed and safety. I'll tell you what, tell the guys to use their judgment. I'm more concerned the safety of our health than I am with somebody for inconvenience or going around. So if we have to do it, let's do it.
Sounds good. With that, I guess I'll wait to.
Any-
This crack seal, are you using that mastic? It doesn't seem like it's working very well, cause I've looked at a couple of those cracks and they've expanded in that mastic.
Some of the cracks, we did have some expansion on it this last year.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the reason was for, most of the parts it's worked pretty well. There was only a couple of sections where I've seen we had problems, I'm not exactly sure what the situation was with it. Where we've been doing the mastic has been turning in, where we're covering the big holes and doing those divots, it's working out much better. But just, there was something with our process last year, with those other cracks, that we had a couple that we had pulled out with the.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it's getting down into that crack and it's gearing to it.
Yeah, I think some of them were putting in too small of a crack on a couple of them last year, some of our bigger ones. We probably should have been using the mastic to it, not the crack seal. So, learning experience with our first year on it. With Lewis and last year, we had one guy, so they got worn out with it. This year we had a staff of 4 to work for him so far, so. It'll be much better.
Do you have any luck with summer help? Anything sign up?
We had 6, most of them from our ads in the newspaper, so we're fully staffed for the summer. And as the job fair, we had a couple of people coming through, most of them I would hire immediately, but they're 15, so I can't. So there's a lot of initiative with them and coming up, but I was impressed with them, a couple of them, when they heard we had to be 17 with a license, they started to walk away, I'm like, just wait, I'll go through the rest of your stuff with you, don't worry, then encourage me to come back in a couple of years, don't expect to be seeing them, but. You know, it's, when you get 15-year-old farm kids coming up to you and looking for work, and it's kind of sad that we can't hire them, but
Yeah.
the federal laws don't allow it, so. Hopefully we can still get them in a little while.
Mr. Chair, I mean, I think even just you there with encouraging the CDL is a big deal, and when I was there for Marketplace for Kids, they commented their list, there's a waiting list. So that is a big positive for our county to see the interest and the demand for that program.
When I was there, I was pushing the CDL program for all the kids as well, so. Their waiting list hopefully got longer. But. See what we can do, I know that they were saying that they're still trying to find some more instructor time, so.
Do you know the highway superintendent in by Ellendale up that way?
Yeah.
You see where they're having trouble with their roads, that A1 data? Got some of those pictures on the roads, they just tore it up, but like you said, it's the spring of the year, the roads are soft, but.
Yeah, and a lot of those are township, some of those are township roads too, where they're having those issues, so.
Yeah.
I mean. I guess that's one of the things, if you don't have weight restrictions on your gravel, like we don't, we don't have the issues that they're having, obviously, but the roads that they're on or out aren't built like some of our township roads. There's some of our township roads that if you were out doing that and stuff, you're gonna be the same problems that they are. So, look at some of those pictures and the things, it's basically a trail road, a section line road, that's field road, so. You're gonna have that kind of an issue with that, there is no base, there is nothing to it, you're just driving through a field. You know, you take a semi, you deserve to get stuck. Hopefully it costs them a lot of money, but they should be having to repair that too. That's why you should, anything like that around here, we're gonna have to make sure there's a hollow policy that goes with it. You damage it, you fix it.
Couple of them, the mud was coming right up through the gravel, and the ruts were out there deep.
Yeah.
But they said the company was good to work with, so that's good.
But most companies are.
Yeah. Any other stuff for Jason?
Any other questions, Jim? Otherwise, let's wait for.
I'll check on that sign, how they want to word it, the bridge, we'll get it going.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you. Mr. Tim.
I'm back. So, the copy that I sent for you guys, I just realized right before coming over here, that they have page numbers on it, so I've got a new copy that I put the page numbers on, and if you want to use this one for the actual signature. So this is the floodplain management ordinance again, second reading. So really what I need is a second reading, need to repeal the old ordinance and then replace this one. I don't know if that takes 3 motions or one, but that's what we need to do.
Can we do it all in one motion, repeal the old reading and move forward with this one? That's good enough, Kim? Okay, so do I have a motion to,
Good for you.
do I have a motion to, I guess, go away with the old ordinance and move ahead with this new one, the second reading? Got a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Before we do that, I did need to point out that there was a typo. It was on the date, it's on page 5, it's November, the actual is November 2nd. And I fat fingered it and made it November 12th. And FEMA caught that, and so if it had been
Page 18.
TO instead of TOO, they wouldn't have even said anything, but since it was a date, they said, hey, you need to fix this, so it's down at the bottom of the page.
Page 18 packet of the packet. That page 5.
Yes, page 5 of the actual ordinance.
And the correct date is
It's on there, I believe it's the 2nd.
second.
I believe I had put the 12th. But it was,
Area dated November 2nd, 2012.
yes. And then the first time, the first copy that you had the 12th on. Oh, so it was just.
So I have a motion. Did I ask for a motion? Yeah, I did.
In a second.
Yep.
Just said it.
So all those in favor of said motion signify by saying yes. Christie,
Yes.
Danny, Paul,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Ernie, yes, motion carried.
That's all I have. And
Thank you.
as of now, I don't have anything for next meeting, so you may,
We'll miss you.
maybe I'll just come up and say hi.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You get to sign it.
I'm approved, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's why I figured I'd sign it slowly.
Leadership.
Whatever goes.
That's experience. Ooh. I guess we could talk on the Lost County one.
They'll be back.
Oh, okay. I didn't see him on, he's not in. Okay.
We're at his. Perfect.
I'm glad roads were good. Seems like our part of the country, you can have dicey roads anytime, up until July 4th, man.
That's when it's doing our first school.
So,
So this morning asked Doug to come up here with the Meta Technologies to kind of. We're in the budgeting and we're knee deep in it. I wanna make sure that we're going through this the right process, so I'm going the right way you want to do, so we're not. Wasting their time on working through this further or others. So what we've done so far is we've had them going through and seeing as part of when ESG was working on stuff. What we can do for different components. We thought we had grant money available for these things. That grant money is not there anymore. Apparently is there from what, it's Tim, right?
Kevin, I
Yes,
guess.
Kevin Iverson and Bismarck said that they sent emails to us to make sure we're gonna want to use the funding and different things, but. It got caught in old emails and went to Christie Quabell, so. If that email system, I don't even know if that email is still alive, so they never tried to reach out to anybody else. So that grant funding option, we missed the door on that one. There's more stuff out that we could possibly go out for. With our top appointing project, we have some funding that we can put towards this to do some of the work this year with some controls and different things. To try and keep the thing moving forward, but then there's the point of with the actual rooftop units. If we were to purchase them through a TIPS program, which is kind of like, all the bidding has already been done, you just select what you're looking for to put it in. And then there's which way we want to go with it. There's some commercial or more residential type units we can put in. I'll let Doug talk more about these. Or we can just skip that part and go to something that's built more for the long term. And skip a residential unit and go to something that hopefully will last us a lot longer than most. The residential rooftop units seem like they only last 10 years. And I don't want to do that already after that. So I'd like to be able to do one project and not come back to my tenure here. So with that, I'll turn it over to Doug and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so when, as we were looking at some of the repairs that were needed over at the Chase building, noticed that there were components that were failing and, I guess they've done a pretty good job for 25 years. Now they're just getting a little bit aged. So the current situation is if you do have something that fails or there's something that it has to make the space uncomfortable enough to force somebody to pick up a phone or send an email to Jason saying, hey, we're having troubles with this. There's no way to look into the system and see what it's doing without physically going on site and looking at it. So it kind of leaves you a little bit vulnerable on a cold weekend or something like that. Friday, why does it seem like it's always a Friday night at 10 o'clock when goofy things like that happen? So what we were looking at doing is starting with, all right, probably start with the rooftop unit that serves this portion of the building up in the Chase building and the 7 associated zones that it does. Then it would, if there's anything that's outside of the window parameters of too hot, too cold, whatever, or if a piece of equipment fails, it would just automatically notify Jason and or any of the people that he would like to have on that list. And it can do it by email or text, and then he can potentially connect to it remotely, or he says, hey Doug, I'm having troubles, can you connect to this remotely? And I'd say, well, I can't, but I know my technicians can, and you don't want the sales guy connected to it. So anyway, so it's all remote accessible, and it would just sit on a little server and chug away. And then if you ever chose, okay, now we have funding to do the next rooftop, and it's 11 zones. It's just, you just pop on another module and wire it up. And then at some later date, if you say, okay, it's time to replace the rooftop itself, because those are starting to get aged too, then you just pull these off, put it on this one. And so you're not really wasting a whole lot of money. Ideally, it would be best if you change the rooftop and the controls at the same time, but it does increase the costs. And what I'm trying to do is figure out, okay, since this other grant funding went away for you, how can we use some of the North Dakota Energy Grant? I forget the other part of the term, that they have a different grant that might be available. And I would just personally look at it as icing on the cake. I don't think it's going to fund a whole lot, but if you get some money back, hey, great, and I would go through that process for you of trying to figure out what we can potentially get.
So with the Century Code projects like this, as long as we're earning $250,000 on the full project, you don't need to have a stamped engineer or architect work on the plans. As soon as it gets over that, we have to have those. The benefit that we do have going for us right now is Automated Technologies has that staff with those permits anyways, so it's not like we're gonna have something that's not designed properly. We'll make sure that everything will be right and going forward. But I just guess, I'm just kind of looking at for guidance on what you guys think that we should do. Should we try and look at replacing the controls and things right now? And the last time that the heat went down out there, they didn't tell us for a week and then complained about it. As we've replaced belts, we've replaced pulleys, and we have the one unit that's going down. I don't think I don't have the funding right now to replace that unit. It'd have to be something that we go through in January in the next budget line in order to replace that unit. So as of right now, we're gonna have to hobble that one along, just cause I don't have the funding. So. Stand.
Christie,
Well, you might have to simplify this for me.
Okay,
So what you guys are talking about here is putting something on these units to basically automatically notify you if something fails.
Even a little bit more than that, so if you were to think of it as the thermostat in your house. Okay, so right now, the thermostats that are over there are very, very similar to just a residential thermostat.
Mhm.
And now we have the ability at our houses to have, well, we'll just tap on it with our smartphone. Well, those don't. Those are like the ones that you buy from Menards. And so when something goes wrong, it's just broken or it just is uncomfortable until it gets bad enough for somebody to make a phone call or send an email. So what we're proposing to do is we'll reuse the heating coils that are, because each office has its own heating coil and each office has its own thermostat. We're gonna replace the thermostat and control that valve that's existing so that it can properly heat and properly cool the space. And it'll talk to the rooftop. And then if Jason needs to see and just look at it and say, yep, all my spaces are good, you can just look at a web page in like 2 seconds and see, yep, all my spaces are green, we're good to go. If any space is uncomfortable, he might be able to potentially resolve it before they even have an issue of complaining. Thirdly, if he does find that there's an issue, hey Doug, can one of your guys jump on and look at this? Oh, I see what's wrong, tappity tap, and then they potentially fix that without having to saddle up a pony and get somebody coming, to look at it. Then if, let's say down the road, you choose that you want to add the next component to it, but the next rooftop to it, yep, then we just put those controls on it and they all talk together on that smart style. Yes.
So
Makes sense?
basically, you're saying this is just going to alert us if the heat isn't working
It's gonna
properly.
control everything?
Control it and alert.
Yes, correct.
So
And allow
basically,
for
instead
remote.
of somebody just calling Jason and saying the heat's not working. he's
And it
gonna
allows
get a-
us to potentially fix things remotely too.
and it allows me to set the zones from it as well, so we've had people adjusting different things, we put lock boxes over top of them. This one,
Oh, right,
this would shut that off,
right.
so.
that's my next question is, you have control.
We've had the control, so we would set the range for the rooms, so nobody's going outside of those rooms, because right now a lot of people that'll set the heat way up and try and call for air conditioning, which confuses the whole system.
Yeah, so you don't allow the systems to fight each other. And then after hours, it goes into a night setback, just like we would do at our house. It's no need to leave it at 73 degrees when nobody's here the whole weekend. So now you have some energy savings on top of it.
Sorry, I think I lost my train of thought now. What was it? Forget it.
Amy?
If and when we have to do updates at Chase or whatever we proceed with, I would assume this would be a part of that. I mean, I'm kind of thinking this is more of a timing thing in terms of why we do it now versus why we would do it later. To me, it just seems like you're basically modernizing and finding some efficiencies in terms of like all the little things we're talking about. So if the funding is there, it's, this is probably a way that, or something we're gonna do. Whichever route, it's just a matter of when.
It's gonna be a request, part of my request for the next budget cycle. And it's for replacing rooftop units over there, because the issues that we're having with them. Any type of things that we do now, how they're connected to the existing units, we won't have, those will just connect into the new ones. So it's not that we won't be redoing it, in that aspect. So, and to get the rooftop units up there, we're most likely gonna need a crane involved with it as part of the project.
So you jogged my memory, if the funding is there, the funding is not there, right? We missed out on the funding, it's gone, is that correct?
That one grant is gone, yes.
Okay, so what I understood when we brought ESG in and you're part of ESG, right, or?
I'm just a co-worker with them, different companies.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so it was my understanding when we first got this whole presentation from ESG, I still remember it, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It was basically, anything we do for you guys, we can have covered by grants. But now we're back here today saying, well, we can do this, but it's not going to be covered by grant.
Right.
we're now going to pay for this out of pocket.
Once we can find a different grant, we can apply for it, yeah.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Is
And
it
that's-
possible to wait for another grant, not to jump on it right now, but to wait for another grant?
I don't see any coming down the path. Just the way the administrations have changed things, the one was using a little bit more public funding for that.
Mhm.
There is some grant funding available, but I don't know how much and if it applies. I just thought, well, if we can get anything out of it, well, let's use it as icing on the cake.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what kind of cost are we looking at for something like this?
Go ahead.
The whole thing with all the rooftops and everything, we could be in the 170, 180,000 range.
When you say rooftop, you're talking replacing,
Placing the rooftop units and the controls.
but now with this step, with this service tax, what are we looking at
This one,
roughly?
Yeah, so under 19,000.
I think it's something that we gotta look at the future, we know they're going bad, we either gotta take small steps, you know, and then hopefully funding comes up, Paul.
I'm wondering, would it be possible, I think if I remember right, there's 3 rooftop units, right?
yeah,
Would it be
I'm
possible-
right in air handler down in the basement or something. Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be possible to do like 1 unit a year for 3 years? Do you think we can get? So, you know, we could do 60,000 a year for 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years, you have your 3 rooftops with your controls and everything in place. And just from a budget perspective, that would be more palatable if it's possible.
It would be possible to split them out and do them that way. What you end up doing is paying. Well, just like anytime you bring a contractor back, you're gonna have to mobilize a train 2 times to do it for the rooftops and mobilize all your technicians 2 times to do it. So you pay for those portions twice, but it's feasible.
Okay.
It might be one of those things where you, the 2 north ones, the biggest ones that are giving us the most problems. You do those at the same time, so you could be sitting on probably 100, maybe up to 120. I don't remember how the prices of those we got a couple of years ago were, for what those rooftop units were.
So when you say you're gonna add this to your budget, which I think is a good idea. Are you gonna add all 3 with the 180? Is that what you're kind of thinking, or?
Let's hope that we can do part of it, the controls this year. And then see how the rest of it comes, but yes. So I have the funding available to take care of the controls this year,
Oh, you do.
because the talking point was came in under budget.
I just don't want to be putting the cart before the horse on this deal. We've got to come up with an overall plan on that Chase building. Are we gonna move the sheriff's office in there? This is gonna all be compatible with that process.
Depending, I don't think if we're changing people, moving people around, I don't think anything's gonna make us incompatible with it, whether it was the sheriff's department or public health or anybody else that we're doing in the building. We'll still need the same environmental controls and the heating and air conditioning. And so we get to the point of a room for, for like evidence rooms where we have to have humidity, that's something we could change to it too, but the building really doesn't have any humidity issues, and if we have everything tuned in properly, we should be able to take care of a lot of that stuff without having to worry about that.
Mr. Chair, and you said with, so thinking about like 20, we're just doing the controls, and there isn't a lot of cost if we were to have to, you said replace, so you're having to kind of reconnect.
Yep.
The unit, that's not something that's a big deterrent in terms of doing it in fragments. I mean, if you do the automated, then when you replace a unit, you're just basically having to reconnect, that's not a big cost to.
Take off the wire, go off of one unit, put your new unit down, connect the wire, yeah.
Remind me again how old those rooftop units are?
25 years or something.
Yeah, about that. So they're kind of knocking on the door of,
What Gavin had, they met their life expectancy, those were all in the red components for it. And from what I'm understanding, since the day that those units were put on, they've been nothing but a problem. So I don't know what happened with that part, but that's one of the things I've been told is they've been problems since they went in.
We spent a lot of money over there.
Mr. Chair, so are you looking for a motion being you have that money for 26 to do the automation?
Yes.
Then you just put it in your budget.
Yeah, and then I would just use it out of the funding that we currently have to do that part, and then for anything else, we put it in the budget. If we don't get the full budget, then I would just be looking at reducing the portions that we do. So if we would be tied into having to do all units by trying to do some, reach out to a couple of different companies, and get ideas of what those rooftop units would cost. So we would have that as a breakdown. And get better numbers for it. But I just wanted to see, I want more direction from you guys. Would you like to piece it, like, we're thinking Paul, which makes sense. We have one that's definitely gonna have to be replaced next year. We replaced pulleys and shafts and belts on it 4 times in the last 2.5 years. The last time they came up, they got a belt that was the wrong size because it's the only one they could get to get it moving, so they changed pulleys and sheared pulleys off, which shearing pulleys off is something like that, I still don't understand how it happens. And you have your shaft, a keyway, and a pulley on it, there's no reason why the pulley should be shearing on unless you have something else going that's catastrophic. And that's the part that scares me the most.
That's usually the indication.
Something's going wrong.
We shouldn't be sharing those. So,
So, do I have a motion to move forward with the thermostats and going basically with that project?
So moved.
Second,
This is for like the 20,000.
yeah, correct.
I have a second,
I'll second this.
questions? There's a motion, now we move forward with replacing the thermostats and programming stuff so we have more control.
Any other
I
questions?
was just gonna say, I mean, I am in favor, whatever that means from the commission for kind of the whole piecing, if it's a 3-year budget thing, I think that would be probably the most palatable when we're looking at buildings and grounds for the rooftop units, that's just my personal thing, but. For moving forward, I guess, but for this, yes.
I guess this is a way to use the existing fund to get ahead of this a little bit, or from the existing budget, I mean.
Whether we like it or not, buildings cost money to keep going. Okay, I got a motion that we move forward with the thermostat and that program, so we can control our environment a little better. All those in favor, Danny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Christie,
No,
myself, yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, have a good day.
One other thing, Jason.
Yeah.
You look at the front of the, well, on the side of the steps, it's sort of break off that. I don't know what it is, but.
Moisture from
Yeah,
down below.
I assume, but.
Well, the company that did the project a few years ago, what they said is there's so much moisture that's down below in that area. That anything that they did was gonna probably last only a few years, they weren't gonna guarantee it, we've had them back to take a look at it and turned into something that they said was gonna happen when they did the project. And that's kind of where we're at. So unless I can do something to remove moisture away from there with the drains out, we're both concrete, different things, I don't.
There are different, we do something different there than.
I'm trying to think of some different things we could do,
Yeah.
we can do something more along the lines of what's on the side of the Chase building. So we don't have on the west side there, so we can try and keep with the same. Historic without changing it.
Here we are again with that, yeah.
I don't wanna change it, see if there's some other things we could do, so. I'm open to ideas. If anybody has anything, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You're up, Jim.
I'm not ready, okay. Good morning,
morning, Dominic.
I'm
You like Tammy or Tam?
Tammy,
Okay.
call me Tammy, Tamara is my official name, just fine. Tammy Lawrence, the Veteran Service Officer for Walsh County, so thank you for having me here today. I was asked to just kind of give a little update about some of the things that I've been doing recently since I started, so. Currently, I just attended the North Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs Conference last week. And during the first few months that I've been here, I've been involved with a lot of training in person and online to become certified with the North Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs. And I will always have ongoing trainings and, meetings that I have to participate in to continue to be updated on current policies and changes and programs for veterans. So I've also been to the VA hospital and to the National Cemetery in Fargo. Because I am a county employee, but I also fall under those VA policies and procedures. So that does take up quite a bit of time as well to keep up with that information. To begin with, reestablishing the consistency of the Walsh County Veteran Service Office after being vacant for about 6 months was a pretty immediate challenge. I had over 100 voicemails and 1,000 emails to decipher through, make sense of, and respond to, which I did not include in that interaction report that I gave you, because unfortunately, most of those were missed opportunities for communication and to be of assistance. So, like I said, I had to begin with the challenge of rebuilding those relationships and the trust in the office, the stability of the office. And this will continue to be a priority moving forward. I've begun to do this through networking and rebuilding community relationships by connecting in person with the Veterans Clinic here in Grafton. I've made visits to there a few times. I've also visited area hospitals and some other healthcare providers to make that personal connection, as well as attending a couple of American Legion post meetings. During these interactions, I have introduced myself personally, have had conversations, handed out business cards and contact information, as well as posting information on their display boards. And for example, at the Legion meetings, I've interacted with large groups of veterans, and they often spread the word to each other. So word of mouth is a very powerful tool, especially in our small towns. And they tell each other about the services that are available. And I get a lot of recommendations just from people sharing that information with each other. This networking is extremely valuable, I think, and an important way that veterans find out about our services. I have even had veterans come from other counties quite often to our office, so I can be assistance to them. So that's been good to see too. To create public awareness, I have placed articles in the local papers and posts on Facebook, and I will continue to do those things as well. Recently, I have begun seeing an increase in veterans and their families reaching out, and things are becoming busier because I think that word of mouth is spreading, and we're starting to see that stability in our office again. I will continue to target groups and places where veterans are to create that awareness of the services and the benefits that are available to them, because they are my targeted audience. I do encourage people to call and set up appointments ahead of time. I accept walk-ins, but it is most beneficial for them and for me if I know ahead of time so that I can be prepared. Knowing the reason for their visit and doing that research about what they're coming in for really does help them and me to use our time wisely. Because things such as disability compensation claims or applying for VA healthcare, adding dependents, record locating, or whatever the veteran or family is in need of, it does take some time to investigate that information, and these situations can be pretty complex. So this research often takes reading policies, sending emails and phone calls back and forth to the North Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs to answer questions, and then often there are several follow-up conversations with the veterans and their families too. So with one case, there can be a lot of time that is spent individually. As an example, when making disability claims, those appointments usually last 2.5 to 3 hours because there is so much involved with those claims. And this process can last several weeks before enough evidence is collected to successfully submit one claim. But these benefits and compensations can be absolutely life-changing and extremely beneficial for veterans and their families. As requested, I submitted a report to you about interactions that I've had over the last few months. And I did get that information directly from our database through the North Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs. We have a tracking system called Vetrospect, so that's where I got that information. Just like every other county department and office that provides a public service, some days and weeks are busier than others. But we are here to provide that service when and if needed. And I do appreciate any referrals for veterans that are sent my way. Future plans coming up for this summer. I've been asked to have a display table at the Summerfest in Grafton because they're doing a pretty big celebration for their Jubilee for America. And then I'm also partnering with the Grafton American Legion to do a flag burning ceremony this summer as well. So I think we want to do something respectful and something kind of an outreach in the community for that. I will continue to do outreach and networking with other Walsh County communities as well. That is a goal coming up. And with other veteran service offices in the future as the opportunities arise. So that is a summary of what I've been up to.
Well, thank you for your report. I know I've talked to some veterans that have contacted with you or you may contact.
Yeah.
Very pleased. So there's good feedback out there that you're doing a nice job, so.
Oh, thank you. I
Anybody,
appreciate that.
Chrissy?
I'd just like to say, I think it is a testament to Tammy that, excuse me, I'm distracted. It's a testament to Tammy that she already has veterans coming from other counties reaching out to her.
Yeah.
So I think that really, to me, it says all that there is to say. You're doing a great job, so thank you, and thank you for coming up. I asked Tammy to come up because we had not been hearing from our veteran service office for the past several years, and
Sure.
I asked if she would try to give a quarterly update if possible.
Yeah.
I think it's good also for maybe veterans that are watching our meetings to
Mhm.
know that she's here, available, very easy to talk to.
Yeah, thank you.
And she, she shared some stories with me when I was visiting with her that, of course, everything's confidential, but very heartwarming stories of people that were not able to get benefits that she has helped get benefits now. So,
Mhm.
thank you for a job well done. For the short time you've been with us, you've accomplished a lot, I feel. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Anytime you wanna come up and talk to us, well, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Amy?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Tammy, the summer festival, will that be at Heritage Village? Do you know, like where you're gonna be?
So, I was reached out by the president of the chamber, I think.
Yeah, Shirley.
Sure,
Okay.
yes, she was at the Legion meeting when I was there.
Okay,
And I believe it will be at the Heritage Center.
Okay.
I think they'll have a bunch of display tables out there. It sounds like they're planning a
okay,
pretty big thing, so, I think she's invited me to come to a couple of them, and we'll see what I can get into my schedule.
sure,
Yeah,
perfect, thank you.
yes,
Any other questions?
Job well done, thank you.
thank you.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very
Thanks, Tammy.
Anybody need a break? Yes. Sure. Okay, we'll take a break for a little bit. We'll call the meeting back to order. Next on the agenda is the Walsh County Planning and Zoning. Conditional use permit for Miranda Olson, Amber and Bloom Flower Farm.
So Miranda Olson, they bought a farm near Ardagh. And she sells flowers and farms flowers, and she does a lot of her sales wholesale. But she is looking for a conditional use permit to hold events on their farmstead for 30 or less, people.
In the planning and
So
zoning,
planning and zoning committee met last Wednesday and they approved the conditional use permit during the planning and zoning. So it's recommended approval for the conditional use permit. I know there was some conversations about adding in a condition to the approval of the permit, that it's non-transferable upon selling the property.
right, cause I got a phone call from Alan on that, he's on the planning and zoning, so. I guess what we're looking for is approval of the ordinance plus that it is not transferable, so if they ever sell it, the permit's done. Do I have a motion to approve the ordinance?
Conditional use permit.
I guess I said ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? You got a motion and a second to approve the permit for the Amber and Bloom Flower Farm. All those in favor? Paul,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
myself, yes. Motion carries.
Just to be clear, that included the restriction that it doesn't transfer.
Yeah. Well, we can go to you now, huh?
Yep. Okay, first up is the NRG bill. So Welsh County entered into an agreement with NRG in 2021. And since then, the sole managed services IT bill has been being expensed to the county general fund. And so when I reviewed our bill and we received it in January, and I asked for an inventory list from NRG, I discovered that a lot of the devices under the contract were in other departments or levies. We received separate money for the levies, for the other users, so I did a breakdown on the managed services bill, and I'm just looking for authorization to bill out in the 2027 year. And if approved, then I will be notifying these other departments and political subdivisions that Welsh County will bill out for their portion of their IT bill through NRG.
Paul?
So nothing changes for 2026, you're gonna take care of that as budgeted last year, but what you're proposing is for 2027.
Yeah, yeah, cause we paid our NRG bill in January. We pay it annually.
So you will notify these entities or whatever you wanna call them, funds that they will be responsible for things.
Yes, so they'll need to include it in their budget this year for 2027.
Is there anything we need to do on it?
Just give me the authorization to bill it out in 2027, and so then I'll be able to notify these separate entities that they need to include it in their budgets.
Probably should put that in motion.
I would move that.
I'm second.
I've got a motion in the second. Any other questions? Got a motion that we move forward with the energy billing, that each department will have their own responsibility. All those in favor, Christie,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carried.
Okay, so next on the agenda is the election inspector. So I think initially we have sent out that Linda had agreed to be the election inspector, and now Sharon Kinsella was interested in being the election inspector, so we've updated the form to include Sharon, which was a relief to Linda. So I just need a motion to approve the appointment of the election inspector for the 2026 June primary election as Sharon Kinsella.
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
Any other questions? A motion to approve Sharon Kinsella as our inspector for the election in June. All those in favor? Christie?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Myself? Yes. Motion carries.
Alright, so then we'll move on to the quarterly financial report, which is a separate packet from your agenda. Our first page of the report on page 2 is the Balch County Q1 fund balances. In the first column is the opening balance January 1. On the second column is the balance March 31st, 2026. So if you can review discussion on any fund balance questions.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I have a question. What percent of taxes do you think we've taken in so far? Do you know? Do you have an idea?
Around 69%, I think our report showed for tax revenue.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just about 70%, and we
Yeah.
usually take in around 97%. Do you remember? I'm trying to, does anyone remember what we usually take in?
It's usually that 96,
96,
97.
97. Okay, so we have about 27% more to come.
Yeah,
Is what I'm
yeah.
looking at. Okay, thank you.
Quite a difference.
And we did just receive our PRC disbursement from the state, so that'll bring quite a few of these fund balances up as well.
And how large is that disbursement?
2.5 million, but it's divided among the levy funds. So general fund, I think, was, around 500,000, that would go into general fund.
Okay.
And that is also divided amongst township cities. And then all our levy funds.
So the 2.5 million was for all entities,
Yes.
not just county?
Yeah, yeah. We can move on to the bank balances and cash on hand. For Q1. Our cash on hand. In the bank was 23,927,457.13. Minus our March entity payments that are paid in April, so those are liabilities for us. Of 592,208, bringing our total cash on hand to $23,335,249.13. Our fund balances in our accounting system are at $23,240,562.93, leaving a difference of $94,686.20, which I believe is interest that has yet to be receipted in as revenue into our accounting system. Is there any questions on any of the bank balances? Cash on hand.
Oh,
So when I'm just trying to make sure I understand, so the difference between the cash on hand and the fund balances, those theoretically should equal, correct?
Yes, they should equal in our accounting system with our bank balances. The problem is that, as we've done the conversion, our fund balances weren't set up correctly when we did the conversion, because I feel like you were probably rushed, Walsh County was rushed, we needed to move over to the new system. And so when we were on a call with Kenny Main from Tyler Tech, he said that the fund balances weren't set up correctly, and he had said that he recommended we wait, but we didn't. For whatever reason, we couldn't wait for the conversion in 2023. And so we've been having calls with Kenny, and then I have a call set up with Linda Swyhovic on Thursday. To try and move us closer to our bank balances equaling our fund balances. Thankfully, our bank balances are more than our fund balances, you know, so.
And I'm sure that'll all work itself, but I'm not really overly concerned about that right now, but I think the point I wanna make is that the fund balances are the earmark.
Yes,
So, you know, the fund balances are what the money is for, so,
yes.
you know, I guess I don't see a lot of cash that can be transferred to the general fund. If we take another $2 million out of the general fund.
Yeah, so we,
Because these fund balances are specific for
Yeah.
a specific project, so if you don't have any fund balances, I'm not sure we can just transfer money into the general fund, as we kind of discussed.
yeah, so all interest is receipted into the general fund except for the highway bond. So any interest that we've received on, like any of our CDs, bonds, those will be receipted into the general fund. Our highway bond does receive interest and that gets receipted into the highway fund. So there is some extra revenue coming in from interest. I have the Bremer bond, Old National, our Bremer municipal bond on the agenda. That matured on April 15th. And so if you guys want to discuss renewing that bond or transferring the funds to our main bank choice. And so you have to decide if you want the funds accessible for the jail project or if you wanna keep earning interest on it and keep having it into a bond or investment. When I spoke to Bryce yesterday from Bremer, this balance on here does not include the interest that we've accrued on that bond. So from him and I speaking yesterday, it could be around 3.3 million that we cash out essentially and move to our main bank account. And then that interest would be receipted into the general fund.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Could I just speak to your point, Paul? I wanna make sure I understood you correctly. Did you think that we were talking about transferring money from these other funds to the general fund? Because I don't recall us ever discussing that.
Well, we talked about CDs.
The CDs, yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but my point is those CDs have to be in the fund balance somewhere.
Okay.
And the fund balance, yeah, the fund balance is, I mean, I look at these as earmarks for lack of a better word. And to me, this money is dedicated to these specific funds, and so my point is I understand the cash is there, but that cash is part of all of these funds, and if we take that and put it in the general fund, some of these funds are going to go short, is what I'm.
But we could take the interest, because that is not dedicated to a fund, and we could
Yes.
take the interest.
Interest earned is as, you know, revenued into the county general fund.
And that's always happened.
Yes, yep.
Mr. Chair, I apologize to back up a little bit, but on the fund balances sheet, which fund is the 10 mils that we?
So,
related to?
capital projects, 10 mils is fund 2024.
Yep, and then what about the highway one that was voted, that we missed?
Okay, so we missed that, so that can go into road and bridge. So Jason could levy 40 mils next year, this coming budget cycle.
The 2002.
Yeah.
002.
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to make sure I know where that is.
We wanna move on to the 3-year year-to-date comparative analysis.
You don't need a decision on that.
Well, we need, okay, yep, we can go back to the Bremer, bond.
Yeah.
We can, if you guys wanna make a motion, you know, that'd be great on what you wanna do. Discussion on the Bremer bond, it matured April 15th. So looking for direction if you wanna renew the bond, investment or cash out, move to our main bank account. For that amount of money.
Any discussion? Good.
Could we do a little bit of both? Could we move the interest and dedicate that to a project? But renew the actual CD or whatever it is, municipal bond, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, renew
Yes.
that, just maybe for like a 1 year, I would say for a short term, since we do have a big project, but the way I understand it right now is that we can tap into that interest and we're looking at about $500,000, so.
Oh,
I think even if we don't do anything, the interest for that will go to the general fund, right? We don't need to do anything for that money to go to the general fund,
The interest.
the interest, yeah.
Yeah, right,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you're referring to the 3.3 million or whatever it is it's gonna do.
Right,
But you-
well, the $500,000, the 2.7 is the bond, and then there's roughly $500,000 that will be interest.
So. You're both correct, so if you. Keep it in there, we still receive the interest in to show it in our accounting system on our books. But we won't have access to it if we won't have access to that interest renewing the full amount. Right now, it matured, you can do whatever you want with it, you can take part of it out, keep some of it in and renew it. Whatever you want, if you want access to the money, then you would have to take some out when you receipt it in and then renew the portion.
Is the general fund interest bearing?
Yep, 3.25%.
so if you renew it, how long is it
You could do a year,
here?
yeah, minimum is a year, I believe, yeah.
I would like to see it's moved over to the general fund if it's earning that kind of interest, at least then it's accessible. We're still earning the interest on it,
So the whole amount?
that's what I would say. I don't know what kind of interest we're earning on the bond.
I think it's 3.5% on the bond,
Doesn't matter.
but we don't know what the new interest
Right,
rate
yeah.
will be until I talk to him, because interest rates fluctuate so much.
But it would be tied up for a year.
Yes,
How long do we have before we have to make a decision of renewing it?
well, he said that they're doing an update on their system, and if we had a decision today and we got the transfer paperwork or whatever we decided by Friday, that would be great.
Okay, we gotta make a decision today then.
Yeah,
Paul, do you have something?
Well, I understand. Cash portion of it, but going back to the fund balances, if you transfer. It's 2.7 million in principal,
yes.
to the general fund, where is it gonna come, what's that gonna look like on the fund balance sheet? That's.
So then it would be the interest would increase the general fund balance. The interest that we have not revenued in yet would increase the general fund.
But I'm talking
balance.
about the 2.7,
So that's already showing in our fund balances
right, where is it?
somewhere.
But see, that's my point. Your fund balance is gonna have to go down somewhere to add 2.7 to the general fund.
Well, we're not adding 2.7 to the general fund, we're only adding the interest. You only add the interest to the general fund.
So.
So that 2.7 is already in our fund balances accounted for.
That's not what he's suggesting, he's
Yeah.
suggesting you transfer the 3.3 million to the general fund.
So the full amount would be transferred to our main bank account.
3.3.
Yes, but then we would revenue the interest in, only the interest to the general fund. So the transfer would go into our main bank account, the interest would be accounted for in our general fund.
So the difference I see is you're either tying it up for a year by renewing it,
Yes.
or you're putting it into this main bank account, as you say. And maybe it's a little bit different on interest, maybe one's 3.5 if we renew for a year, Our main one is 3.25.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure what the renewal rate is. I mean, if the renewal rate was 4.5%,
Yeah.
then I think it's no brainer. But if we're talking just a little bit and we might need access, I mean. I feel like we can access the interest, we can make a motion on what we want to do with the interest. As far as the rest. We either decide if we redo or we just put it into this main account, correct?
Correct.
It's not like we can access 2.7 million, it's not like we're gonna be able to use that.
It'll just be building interest if you renew the principal.
Right, it's just where we put it to build the interest.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I mean, I have a little hard time making a decision when we don't know what the interest is.
I agree, I'd like to know, I wonder if we could call and find out.
I mean, I'm not really interested in making a decision when because we don't know what that will be, and that does matter to me. I mean, there's also a part where I don't want us to be putting per se all the eggs in one basket when we come to banks. You know, we talked about the Lankin and that one approval, let's put that. I think it's wise, you know, not being a huge financial person, but to have a little bit of a spread of a portfolio, especially over the county.
Mr. Paul?
If we're gonna transfer that money to the general fund and we can't access it, I'm not sure what the point of transferring it to the general fund is.
Oh, we'd be able to access it, wouldn't
Yeah, we would pull from our other bank account. From our other accounts. It would show up in our fund balance. Like you said.
Somebody's fund balance is gonna have to go down if you increase the fund balance in the general fund. Cause you're dealing with the same dollars.
Except for the interest.
Right.
So we have. If you look at our bank account balances. And if we receipt in that interest into our general fund, the general fund balance will increase. Our bank balances will increase because we're accounting for that interest now. Cause it's not shown on here. All the fund balances will stay the same, except for the general fund will increase because of the interest.
Mr. Chair, Christina, so it makes it clear, the 2.7 is in this report.
Yes.
So the only place, the 500,000 or whatever it is, would go into the 492,000, so
Correct.
the general fund would show about almost $1 million. That would be the only difference, because the 2.7 is already in here.
Yes. And accounted for in the fund balances.
So when I talked to Aaron Burst and everything else, when he was talking general fund or your fund balances, is that a fund balance designated to something? Cause he kept saying designated, we're designated to something we couldn't use it, if it's not, then we can do.
Yeah, so. Bank balances are cash on hand, okay?
Okay,
Those are. Connected to our fund balances in our accounting system. So you really need to look at the fund balances in our accounting system to know what funds are earmarked for. General fund, the commission has a lot of authority over designating those funds in the general fund. These other funds, other levy funds or century code funds, you have to follow the restrictions in century code to expend those dollars.
I'm still confused. So, so this Bremer mini fund that, let's say we got that 2.7. Can we or can we not move that and use it what we want, or is it funded somewhere? Is there a designated fund? Cause even the past commissioners, I called them and I said, you know, I'm all mixed up, and Aaron had a hard time explaining to me too, and I said, I don't remember ever saying we want this 2.7 or this fund.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting confused, cause if we didn't designate it to a fund, now all of a sudden, is it designated to a fund? I don't know.
Well, essentially it is because it's in with our fund balances. So our fund balances equal our bank balances cash on hand. Okay, so you can't look at a bank account and say, I can do whatever I want with this money. You need to look at our accounting system and see what's directed in each fund balance. You have to look at the fund balances associated in our accounting system, not what's in our bank account.
So how, in the future, do we figure out what available, let's say the CD or the fund balance, what do we have available to, let's say if we wanted to take $2 million to buy down this, how do we figure that out?
Discretionary funding, you know.
It would be general fund.
Okay,
It would have to be taken out of general fund. Yeah.
any other questions, I guess, Paul?
I was just gonna say our 10:30 guests are here.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll-
Want to put this away and
Yeah, we can
move there
go
then?
back to it, sure.
And I'll forget what we said about the time. Okay, we have some representatives from Grand Forks County. I think I welcome you and I appreciate you coming to sort of give us your advice. We'll start with introducing our commissioners. And then if you wanna go through the room and introduce everybody. Any?
Dennis Gorham, Commissioner.
Amy Suda, Commissioner.
Christina Potts, Auditor Treasurer.
Ernie Barta, Commissioner Chairman.
Christie Britnell, Commissioner.
Paul Deck, Commissioner.
Tammy, you can go. No,
Tommy Wheeler, I'm HR for the county and I'm Surgeon's Chair Committee Coordinator.
I'm Andy Schneider, I'm the sheriff.
Jody Hildy, I'm the captain of the Grand Forks jail.
Jason Johnston, Highway Superintendent, Buildings and Grounds.
Morgan, Walsh County Record.
next row.
Rachel Bina, Farmer, River.
Jay Gladys Farmer.
I'm Ron Jurgens, I'm the sheriff. Ben Madsen, construction manager for both projects.
Okay,
And then we have, some individuals logged in.
okay. You guys wanna introduce yourselves there on the screen?
I can go first. My name is Haley Wamstead. I'm State's Attorney for Grand Forks County.
Greetings, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Tom Ford. I'm the Grand Forks County Administrator.
Good morning. This is Kimberly Hagan. I'm the Chair of the Grand Forks County Commission.
And I am Caleb Smith, project manager for both projects.
Well, once again, I guess I'd welcome you and thank you for coming and trying to maybe answer some of our questions that we have. I don't know if you guys wanna start just by cluing us in with something, or how do you wanna handle this?
I guess, I mean, we're here, so I'll just kind of talk quick. Honestly, we're here to, I guess, answer any questions you have, and we have information, we're not here to buy or sell anything. It sounds like you guys are, potentially curious about, maybe the construction project or staffing or the budget or whatever, so. Anything you're curious about, we might be able to answer, if we can't, Tom Ford definitely will. Sorry, Tom, but, yeah, so, whatever direction you guys wanna go, we can try to fill in any holes that you ask.
Paul, I know you had some questions. Right after that, I said it's hard for me to have any questions when I don't really know what direction we're going yet, so Paul had a couple.
Yeah, I had sent email ahead of time about, staffing was one of the biggest concerns that I hear, and I'll just read a quick blurb from the email response that I got back, so I asked about staffing levels where, when you, pre this edition and post this edition, and basically the answer is over the course of a year, we were able to hire 23 officers. Unfortunately, we also had 21 officers leave us in the last year, therefore, we only gained 2 of 7 additional officers that we needed to operate the facility, so you were budgeted 7 additional officers. And you only hired 2 of those 7, is that correct?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty close, and
It was 8, because we needed 2 per shift to open that addition, so it'd be 8 that we needed.
So
yeah, and it's a little more complicated than that, in Grand Forks County, I feel like. So just over 12 months ago, I was ordered by our county commission to take over operations of the jail. At that time, we were running down, 14? We were down about 14 COs. After I took over and started to try to learn a little bit, we arrested a CO for smuggling things into the jail, and we had some leave and some other stuff that happened. We were running about 15 short for quite a while. We changed our onboarding process, a little more thorough background checks, a little more thorough interview, I guess, for potential applicants. And what we found out is that we basically depleted our candidate pool, right? Like, you can only advertise for so long when people are like, well, that one's always open. Nobody must want to work there. So we kind of ran through that. I decided to respond to one of the many emails that I got from companies stating they could help us onboard people. And I looked at what the cost was gonna be for that service versus what the cost was for not being able to open up our pod to take in potential DOCR contract inmates or other counties such as Welsh County. And the cost would have been covered in a day and a half. After being able to fill that unit with contracted inmates, right? So we paid the company, they did a great job. They got us, it's a numbers game, right? From my perspective, the percentage of individuals that we interviewed and hired didn't change. It was just the mass volume. Getting people into that interview room and talking to them. The percentage of people interviewed versus hired didn't change. We just had the quantity, right? So it was worth it. We were down 2, and then 3 weeks later, we were down 8. Due to terminations or resignations, or that things just happen, right? So we've been hovering around this, I'm not gonna say the kids' term, but around, we'll just say 6. We're gonna be down 7 here at the end of the month. But we also do have potentially an opportunity to hire a few more here off of our deputy position that we posted. There's people that could maybe be interested in working at the jail. So it has been a challenge. I mean, there's obviously an acceptable range there of employees that you're gonna lose every year. I would say that right now, my count at just the sheriff's office patrol side, 3 to 4 a year. After over the last 7 years, our number is 3 to 4, we're gonna lose every year. We don't know what that number is acceptable right now at the jail. I would just, we run 34th sheriff's office, the county jail should be around 80 employees, right around there. So I would say that I would hope that our acceptable range is around the 10 to 12 a year. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So when you're down 7, what does that mean in terms of the numbers of people that you can take?
Well, and Jody might be more suited to answer this, but if we have people in pod 2, we still need to man pod 2. What it means is that our existing COs they have a lot more pressure put on them to pick up shifts, working overtime. Other areas are getting shorted a little bit. Then we start seeing you see a little bit more burnout, and then that's when they start looking for other opportunities, right? Like, we got nobody here to help us. Something that I did, obviously with our new Captain Hildy here, with her assistance was, we have the money, right? We're saving over $1 million in employee salaries because we can't fill positions. Let's pay people that want to work, so we're not stressing out the rest of our shift. So we did open up more shifts to try to get our minimum plus 1 or 2 staffing per shift. That's helped alleviate some of that pressure a little bit, and we're still within our budget. And at the end of the day, we need to stay within our budget, so we're mindful of that.
So when you talk about, hiring people, I think of, well, I'll use Altru and I'll use our hospital here in town. I know Altru still has trouble hiring people. I talked to some of the people here in Unity, and ever since they built on, they said they really don't have trouble hiring people. And I said, so why is that? Number one, they said it was smaller, nice attitude, and I'm not blaming anybody, they said the environment, and they said overall probably nice working conditions. So when I look at us compared to you, is the size of what you gotta hire, so, you know, whether it's 22 or 30 people, does that hurt you more because people don't like working with a big staff? Or are we gonna be easier to hire because we're smaller, new jail, whatever? And that's a question I don't have, but it seems like people are more willing to work in nice environments in smaller areas is what I'm getting out of it, and I don't know. So,
Yeah, so I think, you know, referencing that question, and this is just purely my opinion, right? Overall Walsh County region is smaller population than Grand Forks County. So relative comparison, I think it's the same. You're looking for individuals that want to get into some line of service, right? First responder, some sort of, they feel like a calling to serve their community. We have COs now that are driving 45 minutes to an hour a day, one way to come to work. And it's not because they were driven to, work at a bigger facility. It comes down to, well, how much am I gonna make? You know, what am I getting paid? And you get them in the door with some money, right? I mean, you need a high school education or a GED to work at a correctional center, at least in Grand Forks County. We'll give you the training. So you got a kid straight out of high school that sees they can make, you know, mid $50,000 working at a jail, working 6 months out of the year. When you break down the days, right? That's pretty appealing. Then when you get them in the door, you have to make them like it and want to be there. And that's, you know, that's just part of the game. First thing you gotta do is get them in the door.
Yeah.
So I don't think, you know, I don't think it really changes as far as. No, I mean, I've been in law enforcement for just over 20 years. I've been sheriff for just over 7. I have never went to a school, a static display, job service thing and somebody said, I wanna work in a jail. It has never happened. It's never happened. I've never heard it once from any kid, from any teenager or adult, and that nobody's ever said it. So, I mean, I don't know how maybe we need more TV shows. I don't know.
How many beds do you have available?
Currently,
Total number of beds. in all.
308 is our rated capacity.
308.
We have 308, we have 20 beds in holding, but that doesn't count as our capacity. Those are temporary beds.
Yeah,
but we do not have 308 available right now because we have a pod that's closed because we don't have enough staff.
how many beds are in that pot?
46.
Mr. Chair, I wanted to ask about contracting. So there was discussion on us renting out beds for ICE, US Marshals, and being able to fill extra beds if we have those. Can you speak a little bit on the fact that that's more complicated than it sounds?
Well, I can introduce it and then, Jody, who didn't sleep for 2 weeks, can finish on it, but yeah, so usually federal contracts naturally can pay a little bit better, I would say on the front end. Because there's a length of term on those, it's 3 years for that term. So currently we have a 2.5% increase on our county contracts and state contracts. By the time we hit that 3-year mark, the feds are either below that mark or just under it, right? So we're trying to navigate that a little bit, but as far as the front end legwork, Captain Hildy can explain what that process looks like.
When you have federal contracts, you get federal inspections, and they've got a whole bunch of different rules and standards that you have to comply with, so it just adds to the rules, I guess. Cause you've got the Department of Corrections telling you what standards you have to follow. The feds have some additional ones, especially immigration, because they're not criminals, they're just here legally, so they have a few more rights than the marshal prisoners or county prisoners do. And then the numbers, you can't really rely on it. They can tell you that we might have 20 people, but it's not always gonna be 20. It might be an average of 20. You might have 5 for 6 months, and then you might have 30 for 6 months. So it's not necessarily, it's gonna be 20 every day that you can count on that money.
So Joey downplayed it a little bit. So when the feds say they're gonna do an inspection, right? They send us documents and then I forward them to Captain Hildy to fill out. And it's like like how many staff do you have? How much money does each person make? It's fairly intense, right? Like we're talking 40 hours-ish to complete the paperwork. And then they come for 1 to 2 days to do their inspection. A tour of the facility, and you have to dedicate staff to do this. So we walk them through the facility, which obviously ours would be bigger than your facility. Give them the tour, they look around, they might take some pictures, and then you go sit in a room with them. They ask you questions, and then you also, and you know, this is not like minutes, right? We're talking, it's process hours, right? It's 1 to 2 days. And then, with the feds, they also pull a pool of inmates. And they go and interview inmates and ask them a series of questions to make sure we're doing what we're putting on the paper. So, the application process to renew the contract also is quite a bit of work. You have to list every single person, how much every single person makes. There's a lot of justification. That paperwork takes, I don't know, 20+ hours probably, and this is that paperwork is like every 3 years to renew the contract. The inspections are every year.
Yeah.
So ICE inspection, marshal inspection, plus you have your DOCR inspection that's every year, and PREA is every 3. So I mean, it just adds 2 additional inspections to your stuff, and I mean, it's, you know, as the captain, she's more familiar with it, it's thrown on her plate. Hopefully it's something that we could maybe put on a lieutenant eventually. Yeah, it's, I mean, sure, they pay well, right, but it's not just like doors open, bring them in. You know, so.
So speaking to that a little bit, I'm assuming there's a reason why you would rent the beds to them instead of say to local counties, like you've been gracious enough to take inmates from our county. But there are times when you're not able to take inmates from our county because there's no room at the end, right? You're full.
Right.
So do you have to guarantee them a certain number of beds or?
Not necessarily, so, and I'll just explain that a little bit, so we've, communication is huge, right? Thanks for inviting us. It's good to all be in the room and have a conversation with everybody, so there's no, you know, telephone, tell a friend game. But, that's the issue that we've had, a few times, and most recently is 2 days ago. And I made it very clear that we have a contract with Walsh County. We have a contract with Nelson, Cavalier, Pembina, Trail. All of these counties have signed contracts saying, you know, you're our jail, right now we're your primary jail, right? Which adds a little bit more weight to taking your people. I did let the entire jail know I'm not just relying on the sergeants or supervisors anymore. That if Walsh County comes down with an inmate, we're their jail, we take it. We don't refuse you because there's no room at the inn. That should not be a thing. I don't know, I mean, sometimes it gets lost in translation with people. Unfortunately, it's happened. It happened 2 days ago. You guys had to take somebody to Cass. Feel like I should throw you a gas stipend because it shouldn't have happened, right? That shouldn't have happened. Yes, we can and do refuse inmates. We have a list of 14 criteria that you can be refused for. Most of them are medical conditions. So there are, you know, individuals that should not and do not belong in a correctional jail, no matter what crime they violated. And they have to be cleared or seen by typically a doctor or physician in order to get over that hurdle. I've made it fairly clear in the last year, I think, that I prioritize locking up individuals in regional local counties over federal inmates. Because the people breaking the law in Walsh County are pretty close to Grand Forks County, and we don't want them running loose. So, I'd rather house a Walsh County inmate instead of a US Marshal inmate. Absolutely. And that's something that, you know, we've talked about, and I don't think we've hit that tipping point. I mean, there was one example earlier on, and I believe the sheriff called me on it as well. If this individual in particular was a female that we denied. And so then I talked to Captain Hildy, and found out that our female pod was at capacity, more than it should have been. Every single holding cell was maxed out. And we had a ton of females, and uncooperatives take one room, right? They take 2 beds. Can't put somebody in there with them. We legitimately had no room, and that ended up actually forcing our hand to opening up that 4th pod that was bigger. We pumped the females into there, so it can happen, like there are circumstances, and yes, we still do, you know, per the contract, have discretion to refuse inmates, right? It just should not be happening because they say we're full, right? Like, we're putting some processes in place. If you're gonna refuse somebody, you need to let admin know why. So when Sheriff Jurgens calls me, I can explain it to him, instead of, you know, let me look into it, I'll call you in a couple hours. I don't like doing that, so.
This maybe would be for Ben, Tom, in terms of the jail build itself. I don't think you probably would go back and say, I wish we wouldn't have built it as big, I don't know. Now, you know, any lessons for us in the process we are at, of things you've learned, or that when you look back on from little things, you know, how the pods were designed to what was put in, you know, are there any lessons for us that would be helpful as we go along? We're obviously not at that point, but I just think it's wise to hear from those that have gone before us, no matter what size build we have compared to you.
Yeah, I think, you know, the interesting thing we had in the facility we just finished up was there was 4 quadrants to it. So there's the housing pod, which we've talked about, which is kind of geared towards medium security females. We have the admin area, which was, you know, moving out from the existing admin area so they could have a medical space in the existing facility. And then the juvenile facility, which was brand new. When we were putting all the numbers together, the housing pod was actually intended to be bigger. There's actually plans out there where I'm sure none of us in our career, but if someday they want to expand that housing pod, I think it would have made that go from 72 to 128 beds or something like that. Of course, that's staffing and all those other challenges with that, but I think the big thing with this, and we're gonna continue to push that on your project, is to really just make sure if there's options out there to just keep things right sized. You know, when we came with those first numbers for you, looking at, hey, you know, is the elevator the right choice for you or not? We're gonna continue to kind of come to you with those options. We're gonna continue to carry money in there for contingencies and things that are unknown. One thing that came up halfway through the job that we totally didn't expect was having to separate the security electronics completely from the juvenile to the adult side. It was all designed by the engineers and architects to be one system. And then, I don't know if it came down with some direction from the state or something like that, basically saying you cannot have any coverage that way. Well, that's a major change for us halfway through the project. And luckily there was a pool of money sitting there. We were able to, you know, use and make things work out. And at the end of the job, we were actually able to return some money. So we're gonna continue to do that, because I guarantee there'll be changes that come up. You got a good design team, you got a good committee working on it, but sometimes once you see things, it's just not what you anticipated. I do like that we're looking at steel cells in this one. The construction of those, they'll get made at a plant probably down in South Dakota or Georgia or somewhere like that, and it's a controlled environment. They're a good product. That really work well for jails. That's what they are. They're jail cells. So they'll roll up on a truck. We'll put them on a roller skate, put them in the building, and you'll have the finished jail cell there. It's, you know, meeting all the standards of everything that needs to be there for all the things that those inspectors come and look at. So I hope that helps.
Well, I'll make one comment on that. So just for full clarification, I came in with like 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter of the jail project and really had no idea what's going on, right? Really got thrown into that at a bad time. But the one suggestion I would make when you're building that facility is do not cut money from the holding areas. So don't sacrifice money there to have a better administrative wing. Because you're gonna just end up paying for it tenfold in the long run. So if there's jail standards and you can get by with this, but this would actually be better in a cell, get the better in a cell, not good enough, cause it ain't gonna be worth it down the road.
Do you have work release?
No. Will we ever have work release? When I'm sheriff? I don't know, I don't think so. We'd have to put a lot of restrictions in place. The only reason I say that is coming from the work side. Sorry, road side, investigative, charging side of it. Work release was the number one problem of almost every problem in the jail.
Contraband.
And if you don't have an X-ray
Going in
machine,
and out.
total body scanner, I wouldn't even consider it. Cause you have no way to see what they're sticking in where to bring into the jail. And they'll hold it there as long as they need to. No matter how hard they come.
If, you know, based on the contracts you have with the area counties, it kind of sounds to me like you. My question is, do you consider your jail a regional jail?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any? I don't know, you've been operating for about a year now, I think, and with this new pod, I don't
Well,
know.
not even. The new pod didn't open up till like December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea about, the actual cost versus projected cost of operation? Anything like that, maybe it's too early for some of those numbers, but I'm just curious if, you know, we can put projections out all day. But they're just that.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is the little things add up, right? That you don't necessarily maybe take into account. Adding 82, 84, 82, adding 82 beds to a facility. You need to add more lunch trays, right? You know, you're adding more meals, don't forget to buy more trays and more sporks. You're adding more laundry. Do you have enough laundry facilities to process all of that extra stuff? You're just, yeah, you're adding a bigger space to maybe bring in more money, but at the end of the day, to house more hopefully local prisoners. But all of these other things add up as well. You're putting more work on your kitchen. Can your kitchen handle it? Do you need more kitchen staff to get the meals out in time? You're adding more people for outside services, you know, we got.
ITP and medical and, I mean, mattresses, blankets, uniforms, like everybody in each of those beds needs all of these supplies, so it's a lot of upfront costs. To be ready to house more people.
People come to jail to get better than go to the hospital, so the amount of medications you're passing. What, 70 to 80% of the inmates wanna take something, whether it's ibuprofen or some sort of prescription. And it's not just, oh, here, shake 3 out of a bottle, right? It's. You're scanning their wristband, you're scanning what you're giving them, you're watching them put it in their mouth, checking their mouth, all that stuff. Does add up quite a bit.
I had asked Tom, I don't know if he has anything to add.
What's that?
I asked Tom and John, when I had asked them about if they had anything, Tom Ford, the county administrator, he maybe doesn't have anything to add, but.
You guys on the screen there have anything to add?
Yeah, Chair Barta, thank you, commissioners, I appreciate that. I always say hindsight's 2020. And so what I would say is, when this was a different commission, when the county commission at the time was discussing adding on to the jail, there was plenty of data, there were plenty of studies that said we need more beds and more capacity. But during that discussion, myself, Sheriff Schneider, others, the discussion was you can build it, but you have to staff it. And at the time when the correctional center was not under the sheriff, and Captain Hildy can probably attest to this, it was still trouble keeping the jail fully staffed. And so the question was, we're having trouble keeping it staffed. Now are we gonna be able to staff an expansion? And you heard from Sheriff Schneider on how the staffing is going. So I would just emphasize with the county commission here, just to ensure if you want to be able to meet PREA standards and state standards, just ensuring you can fully staff it. The other thing, kind of again, hindsight's 2020, is I know that Walsh County, you put some referendums to your voters. I think it was a capital construction question and a sales tax question, and I do believe one passed and one did not. The county commission, Grand Forks County Commission at the time, did put a question to the voters that we need to expand our correctional center. We need to build a new juvenile detention center. Plus, the sales tax would have gone to things like roads and bridges, but the primary focus was on the jail and expanding that. And the sales tax was defeated. And many Grand Forks County voters felt that that was a message to the county commission that they didn't want the commission moving forward with the project. The county commission moved forward with it regardless. And I can say confidently to the Walsh County Commission that many voters feel a little slighted because we put that question to the voter base. The voter base said no, and the county moved forward anyways. So those are two things in hindsight that I would just address with you all today as you're contemplating what to do or whether to move forward. I will say this, that yes, it cost us about $38 million to add on to the correctional center and build a new youth assessment center. And I think your estimates that you received are more than what it took us. So the cost definitely is a factor, and the return on investment and the beds you're going to get for the cost. I would certainly keep that in mind as well. But if you decide to move forward, as you move forward, and I'll attest to Caleb and Ben and construction engineers, they are phenomenal. They did a phenomenal job. I would endorse them. But yeah, as you move forward, the sheriff said it, you have a plan, cost change, you have to start downsizing in certain areas. And then you have to wonder if you're downsizing in areas, now are you meeting the need that you originally needed? So those would be my three main takeaways for the Walsh County Commission today as you continue discussing.
Tom, can I ask you a follow-up question? I didn't quite catch. When you said you put it to a vote of the people, did you put it to a vote for a property tax increase and a sales tax increase?
And no, ma'am, just a sales tax, just a sales tax.
So in your county, you put it to one vote, sales tax only, it was defeated.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the difference is in our county, we put out two measures. We put property tax and sales tax. Property tax was defeated, sales tax passed. So we do have a difference there.
Yes.
You know, which one do you honor, right?
Yes, ma'am. And
Maybe you look at both, you know, the property tax failed, so we don't use those funds, but the sales tax passed. So we are allowed to use those funds.
yes, ma'am. No, and you're right, and point well taken. You know, the residents of Walsh County and the residents of Grand Forks County, different base. But what I'm conveying to the commission is the sales tax did lose, and we moved forward with capital construction levies, and many constituents in Grand Forks County considered that dirty pool, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Many constituents felt when they said no to the sales tax, they're saying, no, county, we don't want you to proceed with this project at all. And we still get that today. It's just something that we encounter here at the county that I just wanted your board to be aware of.
Right, and I understand. It's just a little like comparing apples to oranges.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions or additions or?
I'll give a little more feedback on that. 100% construction engineers, guys. Caleb, we had no idea. I mean, I knew them, seen them around, but I come to a meeting and I'm like, well, that's dumb. And they're like, okay, we'll change it. Fantastic to work with, right? Like, no complaints at all. Just a little bit on what Tom Ford was saying, so I got elected, took over in 2019. Like 3 weeks later, the city pulled me into a meeting. Cause we were in the city police department, sheriff's office was, and they said, we need your space, your office, we need you guys to move. I'm like, okay, welcome to being sheriff. When? They said, well, last week. Well, thanks. So they gave us a 5 to 7 year timeline to get out, okay? Within that time frame, there was a recognized need to expand the jail. Okay? The commission knew that we needed a new sheriff's office eventually. And the city knew that as well, and then they knew we needed a jail. Why they didn't put the two together, I have no idea, but now I have two offices. I have one on the far south end of town and I have one on the far north end of town, and it takes me about 13 minutes with all green lights and 15 minutes with red lights to get there. If you're gonna build and you know you need both, you don't do them together. I mean, these guys will tell you, for construction engineers, you count how many walls you have to build, which one makes more sense. I mean, I didn't have much say in it, but I didn't have any say in it. I would not build a jail without the sheriff's office attached if you need both. It just doesn't make sense. Because what are you gonna do? Were you ever gonna build a sheriff's office then? Right? Like, what are you gonna, if you need one, what are you gonna do?
I would say luckily, we're in a little different situation than Grand Forks County. It's not going to take our sheriff 13 minutes, did you say? It's
Yeah.
gonna take him 1 minute to walk across. You know, so we have, again, we're comparing apples to oranges. I mean, I respect what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. That is the plan we wanted. The voters rejected that,
Well, sure.
you know, for the entire plan. So we had to move forward with what we have money for and look at what was our biggest need. And our biggest need, our most important need was the jail. But luckily here, wherever the sheriff office ends up, they walk across a parking lot at the most. So a little bit different scenario. I guess I just wanna point out.
The last thing I would suggest is don't build for now, build for 30 years from now.
And that is why we are doing 46 beds instead of 25. That's what the professional companies advise us to do as well, build for the future. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the only thing I'll offset that on is there is a truth, I've thought about this a little bit when it comes to the sheriff's office. And we have had our building manager or our, your title, Jason, we've had Jason here before with shreds of metal and the one thing I do have to say is I do have concerns with what happens to the sheriff's office. Our focus is on the jail and we talked about outsourcing beds to the OCR, and I guess my priority is Ron and Savannah and Scott and the ones that are in the office that we know there are issues within the sheriff's office. And I do have valid concerns of when that project and when that's gonna actually change somewhat because of finances. And do we have the ability to be able to afford our employees, to me, matter more than filling a jail. And we don't really have a plan for that. That was dropped when the vote went. So that would be the only other thing I would say is that I'm all for building for the future. I'm a big, like, that is something, make it smarter, be efficient, you know, from that perspective, I think we're lined up with the right people. But it has sat with me a little bit to say, well, how are we taking care of the ones we have that have been with us for how long? And I don't feel like we really are with the plan that we currently have, so.
Mr. Chair, I just would say that we did work with Ron on that. So Ron, do you have anything to add?
I will say that, when both those measures didn't pass, it was a real blow to what we wanted. We wanted them both in the same building. As well as security for the courthouse and all the measures that we put into that first plan. When we had to step back, and the jail committee took a look at what we were left with, it was getting a jail for our prisoners, and thankfully Grand Forks is real close. Well, relatively speaking, 45 minutes to get there. and they're taking our prisoners in the meantime, but. I think we have options available to us, on where we go. Even if, we move to the Chase building at some point, I think we're not just left out without a building at this point. So would we have liked that original plan to, pass? Absolutely. Being in the same building would have been the best scenario, but that is not our reality, so we had to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we do next, and this is the plan that the jail committee came up with. I would just say too, if there's anything construction engineers can be of assistance to you, looking at other buildings, Grand Forks County had us through the old GAC building and so many things over the course of the last few years. We're here, we're working for you. We're at your disposal to help you figure out the next steps on any of these existing facilities. So don't be afraid to just give us a tap on the shoulder, let us know what we can do. Maybe the plan was, you know, I don't know, $10 million, but maybe there's something that could be done for $2 million and get you to your next step too. We can start pointing you in that right direction. We're more than happy to. We'll take care of you.
Any,
I think part of the other overall plan with replacement and the floor plan we have right now with the jail, we do have room to expand either to the west or to the south. If we do want to include a sheriff's office at some point in time. So we're not totally landlocked with the plan that we've got. There are options to work with.
well, I guess I personally, and the commission here would like to thank you for your input. We might have questions going forward. If you-
We will have questions.
Yep, if you'd be kind enough to respond to us, we'd appreciate it. But thank you for your time and I hope we can keep connected and more questions as they arise.
No problem. And if any of you ever wanna come down and look at our facility, the expansion, the admin area, whatever, more than happy to run through there. Even, I mean, Ron, if you wanna come down, see what not to do.
We did tour, when it was in construction, the juveniles and the jail pods, but, Paul, and Amy, and myself went down there, so, but yes, I think coming down and taking a look at it functioning would be a good thing too.
If Ron comes there, we want him back.
For a point of reference for everybody that's watching on YouTube or Zoom, we did tour Grand Forks, we toured Valley City, and we toured, what was that one in South Bend, Indiana?
Yes.
And roll up and bud.
We went to Bonneville,
Yeah.
roll up, and
So, we have been around the country. Trying to gather as much information and for floor plans and. So it's not like, and we relied on construction engineers, Elevados, to guide us through this process, so. We've been working on this for 7 years, so, but yes, I do appreciate you being as close as you are. And as open with us as you are.
We'll move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. You appreciate it.
Where you left off? I put good. I guess, well, we could, it's supposed to 11:45, and if we do it. Jay, you wanna do yours now, or, I mean, you're scheduled for 11:45, but we could get you going if you.
thank you guys very much.
If you guys want to, certainly can.
Okay, so we're gonna do the public comment period, we've got Jay Gaditis here. As required by North Dakota Century Code effective on 8/1/2025. We have Senate Bill 2180, speaker shall submit a speaker card with the name, address, and agenda item for this agenda or the previous meeting's agenda. Time is limited to 3 minutes per person. And Jay has agenda item of jail operation and maintenance. Cheers.
Hi, thanks for having me this morning, Jay. I just didn't go. You have my information there, so I won't get into that. I just have some questions. I don't really expect answers today. I just would like the commission to, maybe take my questions and then possibly gather the information and have it available for the public at some point. They're pretty simple questions, I think. Do you have a plan for funding the operations, including the maintenance for the proposed jail? Do you have a plan, and when will you be able to tell the public your plans for funding the operations and the maintenance? What plan do you have for staffing the proposed jail? We all know that staffing the current facility isn't easy. Today, Andy Schneider, he said they have a pod of 46 beds that's empty due to staffing shortages. So it sounds like he has enough beds for Wolf County to use if he has staff. So how do you plan to get enough staff when Grand Forks County can't? You already contracted to access those beds, so maybe that should play into your decision in building this jail. I'm curious, what's your rush to do this without the finished audit? Where's the funding gonna come from, and what is taking the audit so long? It seems to me like if in the past audits I've been involved in, if it was good, it went fast. If it wasn't, it was a little slower. I don't know if you're considering it fast or slow, but just I'm curious why would we rush without an audit completely finished? I'm also curious about, I know with the home rule charter, you have the authority to build, operate, maintain facilities for the county and for the residents of the county. I'm just wondering if you've contacted the city of Grafton to discuss whether or not they would like to have a jail built in their community, in more or less a residential area of their community. So I'm curious about that. The fund balances today, another question came up while you were talking. I guess that wasn't on my card, so I shouldn't mention it maybe. So I'll leave that on. That's all I have, just some simple questions, and I just asked if you guys could possibly put together a response for the public and make it available and be transparent with what we're doing and why and how we're gonna get there and what our plans are going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Well, I'll let you go back to you.
All right, here, I can email Bryce about the interest rate and see if he'll get back to us before the end of the meeting on the Brown bond. So then we can wait for that response and we could move on to the 3-year year-to-date comparative analysis.
It's way too much information to consume 5 minutes. Wow.
You gotta look at it when it's sent out.
When it's what?
You gotta look at it when it's sent out.
Well, I did, but it's still just.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to just say thank you, Christine. I appreciate these reports. They are so much easier to read than what we've received in the past. And actually know what I'm looking at a lot of times now instead of lump sum. You know, that drove me crazy. A lump sum, but my breakdown doesn't tell me a lot. So I really appreciate all the data you provided. I'm putting these reports together because I know that took work on your end.
Christine, the red, like the compare.
The red is expenses.
Okay.
So, red is expense, the black or green is revenue items. In government accounting, they're the opposite as regular accounting, so they get, receipted in as a negative.
Okay.
And expenses get receipted in as a positive into our accounting system.
Leave it up to government to do it
Yes,
backwards.
of course, yes, so if there, you can see, you know, on this report, you can compare to previous years. Revenue that we've taken in at the March 31st time, or expenses that have been expensed in the previous years by March 31st.
Sad to say, there's more red than green and black.
Yeah, we have a lot of expense items.
Anybody got any questions on it, or
Is it just for a reference?
It's for reference, so if you look at on page 4 of the tax revenue for county general, the second line. You can see that the tax revenue that we've taken in at March 31st is very similar to previous years. So as a reference, we're just looking for items that breaks a pattern. Like, are they close? Are they way overspent? You know, are we not bringing in as much revenue as we have in the past years at this time of the year? So for the most part, we've been very similar to past years. You can see on page 4 at, I guess revenue 1,038.20 is our interest income for county general. You can see that our interest income has not historically been accounted for as revenue to county general. So that's part of one of many layers of why our fund balances aren't matching to the bank balances, which we're continually working on in our offices. Is there any items that have jumped out at any of you that I can look into, or? For the most part, most items are right along our benchmark for spending or revenue, which is really nice to see in a report like this. And I know Paul, you've had requested that.
A nice report, that's for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Why do we have a game and fish fund?
So we used to have revenue for game and fish.
You sell licenses here.
Yeah,
We used to sell licenses here. Game and fish.
yeah, and we do not anymore, so.
Is it necessary to continue that fund, or can we transfer that and clean up the books a little?
I think we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could.
How much does that one have? I'm trying to find him out here.
So that's on
12.
page 12.
3,500.
So 8,005 is the fund account. We've had no activity at all. So yes, I think you guys could make a motion to transfer that fund balance to the general fund and close it.
Somebody wanna make a motion today?
I will so move.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second that we transfer the game and fish fund that's been on hold for a while. All those in favor, Christie,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Kenny,
Yes.
myself, yes, motion carries.
About the farm account,
The who?
Walsh County Farm account, right above the game and fish.
So that does still have some activity in it. I'm wondering if it was late, cause this only shows till March 31st of 24 and 25. So we must have had revenue come in after that point last year.
What is it though? I mean, what?
Should that be with the highway?
I don't know if that's on the market or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sure. On that, I haven't seen it.
Let me-
Only about $17,000.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
It looks like there's money going into it, but it's just, where's it coming from?
Yes.
Hurts me feel like there are a few there, you know, I mean, I've even looking at the juvenile drug for budget time as it comes. Would it be wise we all look and start, you know, and do it at once instead of?
So this county farm account is for the land rent that we take in.
Oh, for
I don't know.
the round up by Park River.
But we do have the Red River Basin Commission that you guys voted to not contribute anymore. So we could close that account as well with a motion and transfer to the general fund.
I'm
That has had no activity.
just thinking it's any time and point is a. Sometimes they're gonna do something good and all of a sudden we wanna help fund it, I don't know.
Yes, we could just make another account. if
You
that
can then?
happens. Oh, yeah, we can add another.
Cause it was on advice from the water board that we, not doing, so I would take them out then. Which one is that?
So it's on page 11, Red River Basin Commission, Fund 2033. There's $5,518 in that account and there's been no activity.
I'll make a motion that we move the Red River Basin Commission account to general fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any questions? A motion and a second, now we move the Red River Basin funds into county general, all those in favor? Misty,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Danny,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Mr. Chair,
Mhm.
instead of us sitting here and maybe going through all this now, I would make a recommendation that Christina comes back with a recommendation by our next quarterly.
Yeah. we-
Sure. With maybe a recommendation of accounts that we could move.
And
So we
that,
could do it all at once.
I agree, and that in the meantime, take it home and look at it, maybe we can just X something and give her an idea which one we'd like to see,
Right.
some direction.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Hot topic, audit.
Yes, okay, and then if you had a chance to review page 17, that's the county general operating statement with budget. So you can see that our county general tax and miscellaneous revenue, we've taken in about 63% of our budgeted revenue. That will go up quite a bit with the PRC added in there. And then our county general miscellaneous expenses is at 16%, so that's very good for that. Part of our budget. But you can go down and you can see what, I've kind of separated them by projects or departments. So we have a true comparison of what each project or department is spending in our budget. And if you have any questions there, we can review that. So most of them are at that around 30%, which is very in line with the budget for the first quarter for spending. And then on page 24, I added our beginning fund balance in there, so then you'll see that it reflects our actual March 31st fund balance of $4,985,000 and $846.42 in the general fund. And then the next report is the Walsh County balance statement countywide. So that is just revenue was at around 70% of the budgeted revenue countywide. And expenses were at 30.4%, so very good for countywide in our budget position for Q1. And this report shows countywide that our revenue over expenses, year to date, we have excess revenue of 3.7 million. Countywide.
Very nice report. Any other questions?
So I need a motion to approve the quarterly financial report for Q1.
Do I have a motion to approve the report for Q1. Second?
Second.
Any other questions? Got a motion in a second, now we approve the Q1 financial report, all those in favor? Amy?
Yes.
Annie?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Christie?
We didn't get the interest rate.
I haven't gotten an email back yet, but it is still on our agenda for after the audit update that will.
Okay.
On.
Yes.
You lost my thought now. And myself, yes.
The current bond is at 3.5% for that. So then I emailed him if we renewed it, what would the interest rate be?
I wonder if we could just make a quick phone call to the bank and they could.
Yeah, I can call him.
I'm just thinking people don't always say their email.
Yep, I'll go call him.
I guess with the treasury
Alright.
bonds.
I guess I could call from here if you guys don't mind or call from the meeting.
You're doing better than me.
This interest rate we're checking on is more for the rate we're checking on is more for whether we leave the interest or whether the whole amount.
I took it as the 2.7.
Yeah, the whole amount.
Right.
No, the whole amount would be 3.3 with the $500,000 of interest. I guess I thought we would move the $500,000 of interest to the general. But we would look at renewing the bond, the principal that was in
The
the.
2.7.
That's the way I was understanding it, but maybe I didn't understand it correctly.
So the 2.7, I think in what you're saying is the interest rate stays at the 3.2 or something, we probably move it. But if it all of a sudden, if we find out it's 5, why wouldn't you leave it in there?
We'd leave it in there.
Am I reading you right?
Yes, that's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Because you said the interest always rolls to the general, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we received.
so we're not doing anything out of the ordinary, not doing anything
No.
wrong. I mean, that's the way it's always
Well,
been.
we're really correcting our process that we weren't doing in the past.
Right.
Mhm.
So I guess going back to where we talked about having access to the funds, we do have a lot of funds in our bank. Obviously, we do. We have 23 million in our bank account. So like when I talked about not having access to it, that just means that we couldn't access that 2.75 million because it would be in a bond. But yes, we could pull whatever out of our other accounts, to pay for whatever. So it was really a question of, I guess, if you were worried, which maybe with 23 million, we're not worried about being being able to access that 2.75 off to the side at Bremer. That's really what it was about.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Luke, I thought we had to make a decision on this because it's.
Yeah, not sure, so they need to know either way.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do have to make, isn't that the decision we're making,
Yeah.
whether we leave it or we roll it?
So not my next question, thinking ahead, if we decide and we don't get an answer and we decide to leave it in there, are any of these other ones maturing in the next year? So if you needed it, you got access to them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so our other two are at choice.
Okay.
I think one of the choice one expires not this year, but next year. We have 2 CDs with choice right now. So I think there's one
Okay.
next year and then one like 2028 maybe. This one expired this year. The other one at Citizen State Bank, I thought expired this year, but it actually expires May of 2027. So that's $100,000 at Citizen State Bank.
Oh, that's.
So we had 2 CDs over there. So one matured and one doesn't mature till 2027. And that one's only at 0.7% interest, so very low. So.
I would just say I would never make the decision to renew without knowing the interest rate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would rather see us put it into that general account then, where we know it's 3.25.
I got a feeling you won't get an answer from her today. Check somewhere else.
So, answer, and I emailed him too, but I can get back to you guys on that and see. Maybe I can just sit there. He said they were going through a conversion, but, maybe I can just sit there since it's matured. Where we make a decision.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not like we're gonna lose it, we just.
Right.
It's just that.
It's not gonna go
Be able
anywhere.
to act on the next meeting.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't imagine interest rates is gonna go up a lot.
Yeah, I know. And I was surprised he didn't send me the interest rates. To try and get us to keep our money there, cause I had asked him, like, please send me any information you have. And then he had said he was gonna, I think they were having a little bit of trouble with their conversion to Old National. Because he was gonna have somebody from the Grafton branch contact me as well, so.
So what's your wishes moving forward?
I think we're just gonna have to wait till the next meeting where we find out what that interest rate is, we can't hardly act on it without a formal meeting.
And I guess I would say, check around, yeah, 2.7 million, who wants our money?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we don't have to just renew it there.
Mhm. Yeah. And our accountant choice, they received 3.25 interest, which is very good.
That's good, so that's the
Yes.
one we could move it into, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And have it accessible.
Mhm.
Okay,
All right, so going on to the audit update. So I've had a couple of conversations with I Bailey in the last couple weeks. The senior partner that was in charge of our audit had a major medical emergency. And ended up having surgery and then was out, and still is out. So I spoke to John last Friday again. They are gonna have another partner take over, but it's gonna be a delay in that transition. We have started on 2023 and 2024, and John assured me that our deadlines would stay the same, that 23 and 24 would be done by the end of summer, like July, August. And they've already set up the audit request, and I've already been sending them stuff for 23 and 24. So we won't have our 2022 audit done. With what they have said, our timeline was, but we have started on 23 and 24. And hoping to have 22 done in May, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
And John called me as well, and he assured me that in the long run, this really is not going to change anything. I mean, the final audits will be done, as said, you know, like in the end of July, I believe is what they had originally stated. It's just gonna delay 22 a little bit, and you can't help when somebody has a medical emergency. I mean, that guy was working on our audit and he had a medical emergency, what can you do? So they're doing their best to transition, but he said we're staying on course, other than the 22 might be done in May instead of April now. But that doesn't impact us because we've got to get through 24 and those will still be done on time, 23 and 24, so.
hope he gets better.
Right, that's what I said, you know, you can't help health issues and that's gotta come first.
I bet we get blamed for it.
Pardon?
I bet we get blamed for it.
Well,
Delayed
yeah,
audit.
anything can be twisted and taken out of context, right?
And I think, you know, if we could discuss the reason why the 2022 audit is so behind is because Walsh County thought that the state auditor's office was doing the audit and it kept being delayed for a really long time until, you know, late 2024 when you guys discovered they weren't gonna do it, so you had to enter into a contract with I Bailey to get it done.
Stay ready to about things like.
Mhm.
Thank God we were proactive and we went out and hired I Bailey and
Yeah.
keep waiting for the state. And that's what the public needs to know.
Mhm.
They need to know the real story here.
Yeah, and our first,
I won't be here to make the next decision, but I have to tell you what, I would never turn anything over to the state again.
Who holds the state accountable?
Nobody.
And we're not the only county that was having trouble. There was counties that were even had years further back, right? That had not been completed and they were on the list. Everybody was on the list to get the audit done.
mhm. Yeah. So with our first audit with Ike Bailey, it's been a lot because they've had to do more quality controls. And setting up their first. Really the material that they're gonna use going forward, so schedule of federal funding, schedule of debt, schedule of assets, you know, Ike Bailey sets all that up off the first audit. And one of our struggles was Dakota Governance Off, our Dakota programs that we converted from. And so would we have probably been able to get 2022 done a lot faster if we wouldn't have converted? Yes, because we would have been able to pull the information easily, but we were already converted, so that takes time pulling hard copy pages out of old files that they need and not being able to access the program.
We had way too much going on at one time.
Yeah, that's just turned into it.
Yeah. But I mean, everything is submitted for the 2022 audit, the ball is in their court. So, and then we're submitting everything that comes for 2023 and 24 as soon as we get it, so.
And, Mr. Chair, and just to make a point on that, people keep saying, why are you moving ahead without the audits on the jail? The audits will be done in plenty of time for that. We're not gonna go out and get bonds now. We're not gonna go out and get them till we need them, so once we get that check mark that the audit's completed, we can make the application for the bonds, and it's my understanding they can be issued within about a month, so the audit is not holding up our financing. And whoever is putting that out there that it is, maybe should talk to the people in the know. And not make their own assumptions.
Up on the audit?
Yep, any other questions, on anything?
Can I just check if Chris got back to me
Oh, sure.
before we end the meeting?
I've been updating my portfolio too.
What's that?
Portfolio of the.
Yeah. Well, we still got old national bonds too yet.
Oh, that was a Bremer bond,
Oh,
Old
okay.
National, yeah,
Nothing, I didn't respond, so.
and I haven't
Okay.
gotten her email back.
So we'll move on to portfolio holder reports. I'll do one. We had a department head meeting last week. And the concerns there, which is questionable, they questioned if we could look at going back to the 90-10 insurance. They also looked at the good old Friday after Thanksgiving. So just more or less reports, everybody gave an update. Jason talked about parking as we go through our construction. I thought it was a pretty good meeting. I made a statement at that meeting, and being on chairman this year, I told them, and I said, not a lot of them do it, when we do our budgets this year, I want numbers, your salaries, whatever. I don't want any updates on projects or anything. This is a budget meeting, we want numbers, so if through the years, if you did a project or whatever. Granddaddy, you could come here and give us a report at the commission meetings, but those budget meetings, sometimes if we listen to everybody, what they did good and bad. How long would be at the budget meetings? So this year's budget meetings, and I told Christine to send everybody out. If they wanna come and talk and pat themselves on the back or do whatever. I'm gonna stop them right away and say, what's your budget? To me, that's a budget meeting. So. That's just me. We're here for long hours, and to me, I looked at her when she said May and everything, and I went, oh no, all those. Cause you know, at the end of the day, you get all those numbers and your head just starts spinning. There's enough with numbers and everything else besides listening to somebody else, so. They're more than welcome to come here and update us on their projects anytime they want. But in a budget meeting, to me, budget meetings are numbers. So that's just what I told the committee and the department heads, so. And Christina, she's gonna send one forward, so. Anybody else? Any?
On the domestic violence board, we had a meeting and April is sexual assault awareness month for them, and they actually had booths set up at the libraries in the counties, so I just wanted to bring that up, and I think it's a great use of their, they do a really good job of being able to support such a fragile and vulnerable.
Anything?
Extension 4H, Katie Thompson is gonna be leaving us in August. So we're gonna, well, we won't be, but Leslie Lubin will be looking at replacing her. We'll have some input, but yeah, it's sad that we're gonna be losing her. Excellent job, excellent role model.
I told her at a department meeting, saying that she was leaving us and stuff, and I did tell her, I said, come say goodbye to her.
Yeah,
She still has a passion for it.
oh, she absolutely,
Yeah.
and she really took it to heart.
Yeah.
You know, and I just gotta give her all the credit in the world for what she's accomplished with it.
And her remark was at the meeting, I'm not leaving entirely, so you know she's
No,
still gonna have her.
she'll be involved.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
it.
doubt. But, yeah, she's just such a good role model for all of those
The
kids.
youth. Paul?
Local boards of equalization are wrapping up, tax director, we didn't have a tax director, so those jurisdictions or the counties in charge of the assessing. There wasn't anybody from the county at those meetings unless they requested that I come, I did make it to a couple. There were no appeals at the two I went to. But we did ask the local jurisdictions to make a list of the people that wanted to appeal their value and, I reached out to the Pembina County Tax Director, asked us if she could help us through this process, and so we can have somebody, an impartial party, reach out to these people who are appealing and see what we can do. So they will be getting contacted by someone at the county level.
And she starts May
10th, I think. I was just gonna say that. We have a new director coming May 10th.
Hopefully it works out, I think it will,
Well, I hope so.
you never know.
I know it caused some frustration at the local level that there wasn't anybody from the county there, but it's. You know, there's more to local equalization than showing up at a board meeting, and the work that goes into preparing the values and stuff is kind of where the rubber meets the road, and I did offer to go, I got taken up on it twice, so we'll work through it. It's gonna be a little rough without a tax director in place, but.
Did Ed continue with all of those entities that he was working with?
Ed is still doing some assessing on his own, for some
Yeah.
particular townships. I don't know if he kept them all, I'm not exactly sure.
I haven't heard of anybody getting dropped, but I know he had quite a few that were.
Well, I think he was gonna see this year through and kind of see what happens. I'm not sure what his plan is in the future, but there's Ed's did some private assessing and the county was responsible for others. Effectively, Ed did them both, but.
Got it? Yep. Chrissy?
Well, can I ask them, who is doing the assessing, when the county did the assessing for some of these townships? Have they been notified now though?
Well, it's a tax rate. I mean, effectively, Ed established all the 26.
Okay, so our new tax director will continue on with those.
Right.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
assuming the local board, the local jurisdictions want the county to
Okay.
continue to do it, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I do not have an update.
Nothing else from anybody? Meeting's adjourned. You wanna talk to Kelly? Sure. Give him the radio, I don't know if you wanna give her a call, he's got